Hey, how's it going guys? Chris here, and today we're going to be running over another Battlefield 1 sidearm, the Repetierpistole M1912, which is basically the Steyr Hahn, another semi-automatic pistol which can be equipped exclusively on a support loadout. So the Steyr Hahn M1912, commonly called the Steyr Hammer in English, is actually an Austro-Hungarian pistol which was developed in 1911. And the original models, which would have been around during the First World War, were chambered for the unique 9mm Steyr cartridge. Unlike quite a lot of the other semi-auto handguns around at the time, the gun didn't use detachable box magazines, but was instead fed via 8-round stripper clips, pushed directly into the gun's built-in internal magazine from the top. By the early 1900s, the Austro-Hungarian Empire had a bit of an outdated bunch of sidearms at their disposal, and with an upcoming war just around the corner, they desperately needed to update their arsenal and move into the 20th century. The Steyr Hahn was the result, which was basically an evolution of the Roth model 1907, and it was adopted by the Austro-Hungarian army in 1912. Although its clip-fed design was a bit bizarre, it made it easier for troops to train with the gun and get to grips with how to reload it, as a lot of the rifles around back then followed a very similar kind of reloading procedure, so they'd already be a bit familiar with how the M1912 functioned, along with the fact that its integrated magazine is fixed into the pistol's grip, making it impossible to lose. The M1912s were very durable and robust, as they proved to handle well in those harsh environments and grimy trenches, and because they stood up to battle conditions fairly well, they were liked a hell of a lot, which led to some pretty big orders from several different countries. By the end of the Great War, up to round about 300,000 models had been made, with many of them seeing action up in the front lines. The M1912 also made its way into the Second World War too, but after Hitler's Nazi forces occupied Austria, the pistols were converted to fire 9mm Luger rounds, and were issued to German military along with the police. Now swiftly moving over to Battlefield 1, the M1912 has a maximum damage value of 30 up to 12 meters, which is going to drop down from here down to 15 beyond 33 meters, which is exactly the same as the P08. When compared to other support sidearms, it deals a medium amount of damage, as it's usually going to take about 4 bullets to drop an opponent up to the range of 16 meters, though it'll take 7 beyond 28 meters. Because of this, just like with the P08, it might not be the strongest thing in the world to use in CQC, as a lot of the other slower firing guns like the revolvers are going to knock out massive chunks of health quicker, while some of the faster firing guns like the Modelo 1915 can secure the same 4 bullet kill with their quicker RPM. The M1912 isn't exactly a weak weapon, but its time to kill at closer ranges probably won't be quite as rapid as a lot of the other sidearms. Firing at a healthy speed of 360 RPM, this puts it on par with the MLE, which also boasts the same amount of damage, apart from the fact that the M1912 can kill in 1 less bullet beyond 34 meters. The gun has a generally good damage to speed ratio, and although it's not exactly super powerful up close, it's able to retain that higher damage further, unlike the Modelo. While we're on the subject of speed, the Steyr Hahn might also be one of the better guns out of the pack for whipping out to finish weakened players off, as its deploy time is on the faster side, clocking in at 0.45 seconds, which is slightly quicker than a lot of the other guns in the game. So far we've established that the M1912 is quite similar to the MLE 1903 in terms of its damage and fire rate, and another thing that they've both got in common is the amount of ammo that they can hold. The M1912 uses those 8-round stripper clips, which slide down into that fixed magazine. Now 8 bullets is plenty to drop another player. The main problem with the stripper clips, and the pistol in general, is the time it takes to reload those 8 rounds. If the gun's completely empty, it should only take about 2.6 seconds to do the job. But if you've still got bullets left over in the magazine, you're going to have to eject the remaining bullets first, and then carry out a typical reload animation on top of that too, taking up to 4.75 seconds, and for a semi-auto pistol, this can seem like forever. The main problem is, with the gun usually killing in a minimum of 4 bullets up close, you'll quite often need to perform a tactical reload, which in the M1912's case definitely doesn't feel very tactical. This means that sometimes it can be quicker just to fire off the remaining bullets so that the gun reloads faster once it's emptied, but you're going to lose rounds by doing this, and so that extra weight might sometimes be a better way to conserve your ammo. Reloading might be one of the M1912's bigger downfalls, but at least it's an accurate weapon, with a horizontal figure of 0.25. This makes it the most accurate sidearm in the game, though its vertical kick of 1.5 will bounce the gun upwards a bit, reducing your stability. It's basically going to feel like a more accurate version of the P08, with the P08 having the same vertical recoil, though I should probably point out that the M1912 does have a slightly higher ADS spread penalty whilst moving, which could force a few shots to divert away from where you want them to at times, if you're running and gunning. So overall, the repeater pistol M1912 has a nice balance between its damage and fire rate. It seems a bit like the MLE 1903 in a lot of respects, with it firing at the same rate, boasting a similar damage output, and having the same ammo capacity. But the M1912 has a slight advantage at longer ranges, and also has a very high accuracy too. But this trade-off comes in the form of an awkward reloading cycle, which I'll admit looks pretty cool, but it can quite often leave you in some tricky situations, especially if you don't use all of those remaining bullets first. This means that the M1912 is going to perform well in one-on-one battles, and for finishing off weakened players with that quicker than average deploy time, but getting outnumbered will usually get you killed if you're not careful. Because of this fidgety reload mechanic, it can definitely feel less reliable and harder to manage at times, but providing you can plan accordingly and utilise cover, you can consistently kill your targets one by one, as the M1912 can be a very deadly pistol in the right hands. But that's it for this one, guys. Give me a like if you enjoyed the guide, and subscribe if you want to see more. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next video.